Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Stu and this is Murky Marsh for Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, part 13 of the Mayan SOS scenario pack. You have limited time and money to bring this old abandoned park back to life. Your objective, to have at least 1,000 guests in your park at the end of October year 2 with a park rating of at least 600. So we can immediately see then that this is a rundown park, that we have to fix up the rides and the pathing and fix the vandalism and all that sort of thing. So we've got a broken wooden coaster there, we've got a Ferris wheel, car ride, spiral slide, and some sort of water ride over there. We are charging for the ride, so we've got free entry to the park. We've got a nice flat area up here that'll come in handy. So we've got some transport rides, some gentle rides, a couple of coasters, some thrill rides, a few water rides, and some shops. Not a bad selection of shops. And considering it's only a 2-year scenario, I think that's probably about enough, at least for now. So, all things considered, I'm going to put my research into thrill rides. I'm going to utilize this nice flat area up the top to put down some nice thrill rides to earn us some cash, perhaps some drop towers. They're quite cheap and cheerful and we can earn some big money off them. I'm going to no entry sign the steps coming down. That way then, what I can do is I can focus on the top, and then as the money comes in, I can then fix up this area, open that up, no entry sign the bits going off it, and then as and when I've got the money coming in, I can then expand and fix the other areas of the park. And then I think probably last of all, I'll fix up the wooden coaster. With these scenarios, there's usually some sort of nasty surprise, so on the off chance that there is, I think what I'll do is I'll record everything, and then if there is a surprise, we can drop back in and deal with it. If not, what I can do is I can just speed up the footage, use it as like a time lapse, and maybe that'll look pretty cool, because it's only a 2-year scenario, so it shouldn't take up too much file space and things like that. So I'm going to crack on building. I'll see you soon. October year 1, we need 1,000 guests in the park by the end of October year 2. We've got over 1,000 in the park already. So we are on track to beating the scenario goal. I did recently put my research into roller coasters. I think I've got enough thrill rides now. But then I suddenly realised the park is getting very, very busy and there's not a great deal of room to expand to. Well, not easily anyway. So what I've done now is I've just put my research into water rides. The best thing that could happen is that we get a splash boat because they've got such huge capacity. We could get a lot of guests off the paths with that. Okay, so when I came into the park, I know entry signed the path going down and then built a couple of these drop towers just along there. I was running out of cash a couple of in-game months ago. So what I've done is I've increased the one on the end up to £8 ago, and then I've just extended the queue line so the queue is always busy on that. Just helps get me a load of cash. It hasn't rained much, I think maybe once on this. So I've got my umbrella set to 20. Oh, there you go. I think maybe back in May it might have rained. It's a huge boost there, but other than that it hasn't. So at some point it is going to rain. I'm probably, judging by the amount of guests I've got in the park, I might make about 7, 8, maybe 10,000 from umbrella sales in that 1 month. From there, what I've done then is I fixed up this little area of the park. It wasn't much to do, just sort out the slide, give it a little paint job, open up that area, fix the vandalism, and then did the same with the car rides. What I've done is a little trick I've picked up from Mr. Sawyer himself on some of the rides. What he's done is on some of the scenarios, he's coloured in the first car a different colour, and that way you can just see when the first car is coming around the track. Decent excitement on this one, so we're able to charge some decent money on it. Opened up the boats, added a complete circuit to it with the track so they don't get lost. And then after that, then it was just a case of fixing up the roller coaster. So it goes underground, then it comes up into the chain lift. So we fixed that up. And then once I got to the top of the chain lift, what I did then is I focused on the rest of the ride, trying to get a feel for how it went. And then I added in this section at the turnaround here. I think it looks quite nice, to be honest. Oh, there you go. It's actually raining now. It's good timing. So we're making huge amounts of cash. We can pay that loan back, no problem. And then after it tested, what I did is I just decided to replace the brake run that I had here with a little water splash. Now the water in this park is green, so it's meant to be, as the name suggests, a murky marsh, a murky swamp. So what you'll notice with this ride, the rotor drop I just put down here, I've coloured it in this sort of light blue colour, but it's coming out green. So the reason for that is, and what you'll find this happening on some of the scenarios where you've got the different coloured water, and that's the actual water colour. They've just changed the palette on this one. So whilst it's still showing the blue in the paint screen, it does in game, it shows up as green. So it's not an issue, it's not a bug or anything like that. It is just one of the ways of making the water look a different colour. Wow, look at that, 7,000 in that month just from umbrella sales. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I've got, what have I got roller coaster wise? I've got now suspended a junior and a side friction. What do you know? That's amazing. Cool. It's like I can't fail on this one. So we have just unlocked splash boats. So what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to build a large splash boats, one that'll be big enough to have the full, 30 something boats, get as many guests as I can off the path, and we won't have any issues passing this scenario. So I'm going to carry on building. I'll see you soon. October year 2, we need 1,000 guests in the park. We've got just under 1,300, so we are going to beat the scenario quite comfortably then. So since I last spoke to you then, I have added a huge splash boats that goes around the whole of the park. With an excitement of 10.2, so that's excellent. Swamp Romp. And then I've also added, just up here, a side friction roller coaster. So it starts off just down here. We got a first drop. There's the station there. First drop just around there, interacting with the splash boats and also the go-karts. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we got the main chain lift up here. So we're getting some good speed down here. And with the side friction, you do have to make sure you don't get them going too fast at the crest of the hill, otherwise they can crash off the track. So when I first built this one, I did have this little crest a little bit lower, and it was probably just about right, but I was a little bit hesitant to open it up fully, because when the train is full of guests, it will be a little bit heavy and will be a little bit fast. So I just raised it up slightly, and it seems to be a nice sort of, it hits a nice speed. So there's no crashing, no one dying. That's excellent. And then just over here, then we've built a huge go-kart track. Just comes off here, interacting with the wooden coaster, the canoes, running all the way along the back of here, interacting with the splash boats, the side friction coaster, and then coming back to the station just down here. Og Racing, 7.5 excitement. Nice. So one thing I did want is I put my research into water rides, because I wanted a splash boat, and luckily enough, not only was there a splash boat, it was the first thing that was researched in water rides. So that was excellent, because it's not very busy at the moment, but we've got 262 guests on it. Not many in the queue, but so there's 300 guests either on the ride or in the queue that aren't on the main paths. So as you can see, the main paths are a lot less busy than they were. So we haven't had any issues with overcrowding. Also making a lot of money off the shop sales as well. So as they come out of the exit, they have to walk past all these merchandise stalls. So that might tempt them whilst they're really happy. Was excitement on the side friction. Forest Flyer, decent excitement on that. They are not too hard to get great excitement on, but that's pretty decent, that is, for a side friction coaster. I've been researching shops. Then once the splash boats came in, I switched my research to shops, started putting a load of those down, trying to win something like best food award or something like that, just to give us a nice booster in the park. Haven't got any awards at the moment. Early on in the game, I did win best toilets, so that was a nice early boost. Yeah, we've done all right. So let's have a quick recap then. Came in, put the no entry sign just down on the top there to block off the steps. Built these. That's a bit too expensive now. I did ram the price off up to that when I was trying to build the wooden coaster. There you go. Someone's going there. Built these drop towers, set them to £5 a go. Actually, I think the first one I set to £5, saved the design, put the other two down, and then I forgot to change the price. So I was charging £2 for those until I came around to buying, trying to build the wooden coaster, and then money was a bit of an issue. So I needed to start scrimping and saving and raising my money then. Just adding rides around the park. And then what we did then, once we had the top section, we opened up this section here with a spiral slide once I'd fixed the pathing and any vandalism. And then what I'd done as well is I'd also added no entry signs to the rest of the park. And then as the money comes in, let's put my name in, Stu. As the money came in and as each area of the park was fixed, I started opening and expanded the other sections of the park. At the end of the first year, we had the 1,000 guests. So what I wanted is then to have a nice big ride to soak up a load of guests. Fortunately, the splash boats came out, and so we haven't had any issues with overcrowding. After that, then it was just building the side friction and the go-karts, and a nice easy win. So this was a nice fun scenario. I enjoyed this one. Also, as it's a fairly short one, hopefully the time-lapse footage will look pretty cool as well. On any longer scenarios, it just becomes a bit too cumbersome, and the file sizes start to get too big, and the editing starts to become a major hassle. But hopefully a nice 2-year scenario will be pretty cool. So I am Stu. This was Murky Marsh, part of the main SOS scenario pack. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.